Hello viewers, welcome to All4's e-learning classes. Now, today I am going to start hydrosphere. 9th standard social studies 3rd lesson this is. All of you know that there are 4 natural realms: lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere. Realms are nothing but the areas which do possess common features. So, in this session I am going to explain to you about the hydrosphere. Hydrosphere. The word hydrosphere is derived from the 2 Greek words, heuder plus sphaera. Heuder plus sphaera. Heuder means water, sphaera means sphere of ball. That means hydrosphere means a sphere, a layer of water. It consists of water in the form of lakes, rivers, seas, bays, ponds, ocean, and even underground water also will come under this hydrosphere. Right, all of you know that from thousands of years there is rainfall on the earth, and only 1% of the freshwater resources are enough for the human sustenance. Here the question arises that how that little amount of the water is useful for the human sustenance, about the different water resources, hydrological cycle, and the oceans, and different types of the winds, how are the oceans useful to us. Like these topics we are going to read in this lesson. Right? First I will start my lesson with hydrological cycle. I think all of you have very good idea about the hydrological cycle. That is, let me start here, that it is nothing but the word humidity. The presence of the humidity will be indicated in the atmosphere in the form of either vapor or snow, like that will be. So the amount of the water vapor which is present in the atmosphere, the amount of the water vapor which is present in the atmosphere is called as atmospheric humidity. So atmosphere, what it will do, it will draw the water from the earth in the form of vapor, and again that vapor it returns on to the earth in the form of either rain or snowfall, rain, snowfall, sleet, hail, etc. like that. That is, first what will happen when water will be taken into atmosphere in the form of vapor, again it will be converted into different forms of precipitation, and again it comes onto the earth. Again water will evaporate from the oceans. It will be carried into the clouds, transported into the clouds. Then again the clouds will convert that into rain. It will come onto the earth in the form of precipitation. Again the water will flow into the ocean. Again it continues. It is a cyclical effect. Hydrological cycle is a cyclical effect. That is, atmosphere draws the water vapor from the earth in the form of vapor. Again it returns to the earth in the form of rain or snow. This process is called as simply hydrological cycle. This hydrological cycle also can be represented by a formula, that is, rainfall is equal to runoff plus ET. Rainfall is equal to runoff plus evapotranspiration. This hydrological cycle, it consists of these stages: evaporation, transportation, condensation, precipitation, runoff, and groundwater. Evaporation, all of you know that, because as the earth receives sun's energy in the form of insolation, incoming solar radiation. Because of sun's that warmth, heat, what will happen? The water which is present in the ocean, it will be vaporized, it will transform in the form of vapor, and it reaches into higher layers of atmosphere. Did you get my point? Because of the sun's heat, the water which is present, not the complete water, little amount of water which is present in the oceans, it will be evaporated. That is, the process of changing liquid water into gaseous vapor stage is called as evaporation. Here water is changing its stage. From the liquid water it is becoming vapor. The process of changing water into vapor is called as evaporation. How this evaporation is causing? Because of the sun's heat. Next cycle, next process is that is not only this ocean's water will be evaporated, even plants also. Plants, a considerable amount of the water vapor is also released by the plants. plants will also release water vapor. So that amount of the water vapor which is released by the plants into atmosphere, that is called as transpiration. Transpiration. And next stage in this hydrological cycle is transportation. That is the movement of the water. The movement of the water in the atmosphere specifically. The movement of water into the atmosphere specifically from the oceans onto the land. From the oceans onto the land in the form of clouds. The movement of water to the atmosphere from over the oceans to the land surface in the form of clouds is called as transportation. This is the next stage of the hydrological cycle. Then condensation. Condensation means if the temperature of the saturated air becomes below dew point, that is 0 degrees. If the temperature of the saturated air falls down below the dew point 0 degrees centigrade, at that time what will happen? Air cannot hold that water vapor any longer, because what will happen at that stage, the vaporous water vapor, it will be transferred into billions of tiny particles of water. Billions of tiny particles of water on the basis of temperature. Then the clouds cannot hold that billions of tiny particles of water. So simply the process of transformation of vapor into water is called condensation. How it happens means, because if the temperature of the saturated air falls down below dew point, that is 0 degrees Celsius, at that condition what will happen? The air loses its capacity to hold on that water vapor, and the water vapor will be transferred into billions of tiny particles of vapor. At that stage, clouds which do possess that vapor and which turns into liquid, they cannot hold that. That transformation, that process of changing water vapor into liquid water is called as condensation. This condensation is followed by another natural process called as precipitation. Precipitation is nothing but it is a natural process. It is a natural process, that is the atmospheric moisture will come onto the earth. That is the atmospheric moisture will come onto the earth in the form of rain, snow, hail, etc. That is called as precipitation. Right? And the next position is runoff. When it rains, all of you know that when it rains there will be very good amount of the water will come onto the earth. Then this rainwater, it runs through the hills. It will join nearby river, lakes, ponds, oceans, and also again from oceans, again evaporation condition will take place. And the next stage of this hydrological cycle is groundwater. Like that is when runoff, when there will be a runoff water, some water will go into underground layers of the earth also. Again these groundwater will also come up in the artesian wells, that is deep wells. It will come into the wells. So these are the 6 stages of the hydrological cycle. What is meant by hydrological cycle is atmosphere draws the water vapor from the earth, and again it will be sent on to the earth in the form of rain or snow, is called as hydrological cycle. This is a cyclical process. First from the oceans water will be evaporated, it will be transported into the clouds, again it will be condensed. After condensation it will come onto the earth through precipitation, and water will run off to the oceans, again evaporation will take place continuously. This is a water cycle effect. Water will change to solid, liquid gases, like that it goes on. This process is called as hydrological cycle, and it will take place in 6 stages. Evaporation means the process of transformation, conversion of water into vapor. Water into vapor is called evaporation. Then plants also release considerable amount of water vapor into atmosphere, that is called as transpiration. Then transportation means the amount of the water through atmosphere, specifically it will, the movement, it will move from, that is from the oceans onto the land. the form of clouds, that is called as transportation. Water will be transported from oceans to over the oceans to the land in the form of clouds. That process is called as transportation. And condensation means if the temperature decreases, and what is this easily I want to say here, that is the process of conversion of vapor into liquid. Vapor into liquid is called as condensation. Here you should understand, here it is liquid to vapor, here vapor to liquid. The process of conversion of vapor to liquid water is called as condensation. Precipitation means condensation is followed by a natural process through which atmospheric moisture will come onto the earth's surface in the form of rain or snow. Then when it rains, we all know that this is a simple logic, that the water will run off through the hills and it will join all the nearby areas. It may be either rivers, lakes, ponds, whatever it may be, and some water will go into the underground layers also, underground strata, aquifers also, that is it will go into interior layers also, and water will join near another water bodies also, even into oceans. From there again same evaporation will start. So that underground water which went into interior layers, again it will also comes up in the form of artesian wells, that is deep wells. Into our wells it will come up. Right? This is the hydrological cycle. Next topic is about the water resources. All of you know Earth is called as a blue planet. The reason for this is 71% of our Earth's surface is covered with the water only. When our planet is observed from the space, it will look like, maximum blue color will be seen by the people who will move into the space. That's why, because of the presence of 71% of the water on the Earth's surface, our Earth is called as blue planet. So whatever the water is present on our Earth's surface, whatever is present, in that if you look out, 97.2169% of the water, 97.2169% of the water which is present on the Earth's surface is salty, saline. It is in the oceans and seas, oceans and salty water, that is not useful for drinking. That is 97% of the water is salty only. So how much fresh water is present on our Earth's surface means 2.7831%. Just only minimum amount, 2.7831% of the water is only fresh water that is present on our Earth. So this fresh water, where it is present, where it is accumulated means, if you look out, 69.56%. This is nearly 70%. Nearly. Exactly I am saying to you, 69.56% of the water, it is accumulated in the form of snow, either in Antarctic, Arctic or in the mountainous areas. This is present. This much water is present in the form of snow only. That is in Antarctic. All of you know that Antarctic is present in the south polar zone and Arctic in the north polar zone. It is present, and even in the mountainous areas, Himalayas, all of you know that it is in the form of snow. Then 30.1% of the water. 30.1% of the water, it is present as underground water resource. That is, this much water is present in the underground strata, underground layers of the Earth. Then what is left on the surface of the Earth means just 0.34% of the water is present on the surface of the Earth in the form of rivers, lakes, ponds. This limited quantity of the water only we the human beings are utilizing. This is satisfying the necessities of human beings. Right? This is about the freshwater resources. Let me brief it. Water resources, because of the presence of maximum water, 71% of the water, our Earth is called as blue planet. So whatever water is present on the Earth, in the 97.2169% of the water is in oceans and seas only. Means salty water, not useful for our drinking purpose or agriculture purpose or domestic purpose. And 2.7831% only, just a limited amount of water only, fresh water is available on the Earth. In this fresh water also, again 69.56% of the water is in the form of snow only, and 30.1% of the water is in underground only. So only just a minute microscopic minority percentage, 0.34% of water only available to us in the form of fresh water, rivers, lakes, ponds, etc. That is satisfying the needs of the human, right? So hydrological cycle completed, water resources completed, and the next, coming to the next topic is about oceans. About the oceans. All of you know about the oceans. Can you define what is ocean? Right, let me continue. So, in the lithosphere lesson, first order landforms I have explained to you. That is, all of you know that how the lithosphere was formed out. When the earth was in the molten rock material, the lighter particles of that molten rock material, they formed like a layer on the molten rock material, and that formed into crust, lithosphere. Right? On that lithosphere, the first form landforms are, that is, continents and oceans. So, oceans are the first order landforms. When we define exactly what are oceans means, oceans are nothing but the large water bodies present on the surface of the earth called as oceans. Here, how many oceans are there according to geologists? This you know very well, because from primary standard you might be reading about this in your social period. That is Pacific Ocean. If our board is world map, if you imagine that Pacific Ocean we will find on the either side, because earth is round, no? That's all. Pacific Ocean. Then Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean. It separates, what is that? North, South America, Europe and Africa will come. Here in the middle, Atlantic Ocean will come. Okay, then below India, Indian Ocean will be there. North side, at the pole, Arctic Ocean will be there. And south side, Antarctica or Southern Ocean we will call it. 5 oceans, total 5 oceans are there. Pacific Ocean we will find on the either side. Atlantic Ocean, here North America, South America are located. Here Europe and Africa are located. Between this, here Atlantic Ocean is present. Very easy to remember, Indian Ocean is below India, Indian Ocean is present. North side Arctic Ocean will be there, and south side Antarctic Ocean is there. Here I want to say difference between ocean and sea. Commonly, many of us will use these two words as one only, but slight difference is there. Both are saline water bodies only, salty water bodies only. Ocean is nothing but large water body is called as ocean, whereas that is saline. Sea is also a salty water area, but it is surrounded by landmass. It is surrounded by landmass. Partly or more than part, that is 3/4 is surrounded by, that is landmass, that is called as sea. That is a slight difference, we should know about this. Right, and the next is about the ocean floor. Oceans, you might have observed, the ocean floor also resembles like the floor on the earth also. The ocean floor, it is divided into 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the land part. So, land part, this is the ocean floor. I want to show you in a symbolical manner to you. Ocean floor is divided into 4 parts. 4 parts. Ocean floor is divided into 4 parts. That is, first one is continental shelf. Continental shelf. Second one is continental slope. Third one is deep sea plain. Fourth one is ocean deep. Fourth one is ocean deep. Right. This is continental. This is ocean floor. Ocean floor. It is divided into four parts. This first one is called the continental shelf. This part is called continental slope and this is ocean deep and deep sea plain and this is ocean deep. What are these? We have to read them. First I will tell about the continental shelf. The land which is bordering between the land mass and the water mass. The border of land and water mass. Here see, this part is called as continental shelf. Here I kept one. The border zone of land and sea is called as continental shelf. Continental shelf, and clearly the depth of the water here will be 200 meters. The water depth will be 200 meters and it accounts 7.6% of this ocean floor. First, the ocean floor is divided into two parts: continental shelf, continental slope, deep sea plain and ocean deep. What is continental shelf means? The land, the border zone between the land and the water is called as continental shelf. It accounts nearly 7.6% of this ocean floor. Here the depth of the water varies up to 200 meters. What is the speciality? The largest continental shelf is Siberian shelf, located in the Arctic zone. And here the specification of this shelf, what is the speciality means? Fishes are available here only. Oil and natural gases are available here only. And this area is very much helpful to build the seaports also. That is a specification. So what points you have to remember here? Continental shelf is nothing but the border zone between land and water. First point. It accounts 7.6% of the ocean floor. And the depth varies up to 200 meters. And the largest shelf is Siberian shelf. Speciality, specification is fishes are available, oil and natural gas is available, and also this area is suitable to build the seaports. Right, 5 points you should remember. That's all. Then go to continental slope. Continental slope means second part is continental slope. The area which is present between continental shelf and deep sea plain. The ocean floor that is present between the continental shelf and deep sea plain is called as continental slope. Continental slope. Okay. And the area which is, how much area it varies means 15%. 15% of the area it occupies. It occupies. And here the depth will be from, it varies from 200 meters to 3000 meters. 200 meters to 3000 meters. What is the speciality means? Submarine canyons means steep valleys are present. Steep valleys are present here. So here what points you have to remember in this continental slope is the area, the ocean floor that is present between the continental slope and the ocean deep sea plain. The area that is present between continental shelf and deep sea plain, that is called continental slope. Second one. And it accounts 15% of the ocean floor. Right? And here the depth is from 200 meters to 3000 meters it will be. And the speciality is submarine canyons, that is steep valleys are present here. These 4 points you should remember. Right? And third one is deep sea plain. The plain that is present between this continental slope and ocean deep. The plain that is present between continental slope and ocean deep is called as deep sea plain. And here the depth varies from 3000 to 6000 meters. 3000 to 6000 meters, and it accounts 76.2%. 76.2% of the ocean floor is occupied by this deep sea plain. Smoothest part, smoothest and flattest plain this is. Okay, right. This is about the deep sea plain. Deep sea plain is nothing but which is present between the continental slope and the ocean deep, called as deep sea plain. It accounts 76.2% of the floor. And here the depth varies from 3000 to 6000 meters. It is the flattest and smoothest region on the earth's surface. Right. Then coming to this ocean deep. If we come to ocean deep, the deepest points on the earth's surface are called as ocean deeps. The deepest surface, the deepest points on the earth's surface are called as ocean deep. The depth will be more than 6,000 meters. The deepest points, let me say, Mariana Trench, they are called as the trenches. Deepest points are called as the trenches. Mariana Trench is present in the Pacific Ocean, and the depth of that is 11,022 meters it will be. And one more deepest trench, it is present in the Atlantic Ocean, that is called as Naves, Naves, and the depth is 10,475 meters it will be. And Java Trench, that is present in the Indian Ocean, and the depth is 7,450 meters. Mariana Trench is the deepest one, 11,000 plus meters, it is very deep. That is, take for example, if we slice the Mount Everest, 8,848 meters above the mean sea level, Mount Everest, highest mountain peak is there, no? If we slice it from its bottom and if we throw it into this Mariana Trench, it will go up to 3,000 meters deep it will go. Because the trench depth is 11,000 meters plus. Okay, this is about the continental floor, ocean floor. When you have to write about this question, first you have to define ocean. The large water bodies on the surface of the earth are called as oceans. There are 5 oceans and you mentioned the 5 names, and the ocean floor is divided into 4 parts: continental shelf, continental slope, deep sea plain and ocean deep. Continental shelf, it accounts 7.6% of the ocean floor. Next, width, that is its depth varies 200 meters and it is a border zone between the land and the water. Specifications are: fishes are present, natural gas present and suitable to build the seaports. Right. Then continental slope, it accounts 15% of the sea floor. Depth varies from 200 to 3000 meters.